The increasing cases of arrest of passengers over drug-related offences have become a cause of concern in Nigeria. And on this episode of the show, we shall be beaming a searchlight on airport security and other issues. Hello and welcome to Crime Watch. My name is Ivy Kano. We'll start with the crime news.
The Explosive Ordnance Disposal Command of the Nigerian Police Force is determined to check access to improvised explosive devices. Crime Watch was present at a meeting with key players and commanders across the country when this was discussed.
It is our duty also to deter use of explosives and other dangerous materials by hardening the target. You are as well enjoined to develop appropriate response strategies and preparedness for responding to nuclear incidents and emergencies.
The police have called on Nigerians to partner with security agencies in the fight against criminality in the country. They stated these at the handing over of remodeled and renovated K9 facility in Lagos, while demonstrating the abilities of the dogs and assistance it offers to security agents. The Commissioner of Police Animal Branch said the gesture couldn't have come at a better time given the myriads of security challenges facing the country.
I think there's nobody that will say, dog, what can dog do? Even in our local environment, you say you keep a dog because you want to keep away the thieves. So the police are very smart in their own way. We know the basic instinct, the natural instinct of the police, of the dogs. So we work on it, we train them more, and they become better. They have natural instincts for smell, their olfactory organ smells more than 1 million times that of a man. So what you can see, I mean, you can conceal drugs or you can conceal arms, explosive, whatever, in a box or in a car or somewhere. You can easily pass by as human being, you might not notice it. But the dog is endowed with very effective olfactory organ that it can easily use its nose to know even in minute quantity of that substance.
You have seen from the exercises displayed that if we deploy the dogs where we cannot run into, the dogs can easily get it right.
Dogs are very, very high maintenance creatures. So I will enjoin all other members of the public, including other churches, mosques and everywhere, to it's a CSR. They should just come into helping these animals, because like we have seen in the display, the animals are worth more than even human beings in terms of protection. It is recorded that a dog can perform the job of 10 policemen. It is worldwide. Everybody accepts that. So if we empower, the canine section, as they have done today, I think it's going to reduce even the crime rate in Lagos, because the dogs will do more.
The lady abducted at the Plateau State Polytechnic staff quarters has been released. Abigail Amos was kidnapped by gunmen who invaded the quarters, got to the home of the Polytechnic's assistant registrar and took his sister. The Nigerian Army says there will be no respite for bandits and cattle thieves in Zamfara State. The Army has modified its operation against them and is tagged Abingonama 3. It will now cover more states including Katsina and Sokoto. This was announced by Major General Lamidi Adeosun, who was speaking on behalf of the Chief of Army Staff in Abuja.
Current threat assessments revealed the migration of the bandits from their epicenter to other areas in Kaduna, Kano, and Niger states. It is against this backdrop that exercise Arbin Kunama 3 is being reorganized and its mandate expanded to effectively ensure the complete defeat of the fleeing bandits. This is to restore public confidence and enhance safety while also ensuring socio-economic activities continue without fear or intimidation.
Our first big story tells the worrying trend of how airport workers connive with drug cartels to implicate innocent travelers.
Passengers at Nigeria's major gateways of Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt and Kano and an average of 61,600 passengers depart each of the airports daily. The passengers' documents are processed by officials on duty, some of whom have perfected the act of planting narcotics on passengers' luggage. The passengers must be eagle-eyed to know the exact weight of their luggage and tags. A case in point is the arrest of a Nigerian student, Zainab Aliyu Zainab, who was tracked to her hotel room in Saudi Arabia. This has exposed how porous the country's airports are and how the innocent can pay the ultimate price.
It might be difficult to get people to admit on camera that they plant drugs on passengers' luggage. But if the searchlight is beamed on the airline, the airport, and the ground handling company staff who man the computers to print out and tag passengers' luggage, the right answers might emerge.
This former cabin crew staff agrees that drug cartels exist at the country's airports.
I know that drugs practice exists among cabin crew and among those staff, ground staff that plant it on people. Once 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 of them are killed, I'm telling you the racket will be broken.
For the former commandant Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Lagos, drug barons and couriers do not operate in isolation. They are aided by airlines and airport workers. He called for proper investigation into the case.
It is very easy to find out. It's really very easy to find out. First and foremost, find out who are the people that can have access to the passenger's luggage. It is either the airline staff or their service provider or the baggage handlers or the loaders. You understand? But all those have not been identified from some of the reports we are hearing. They just say the airport staff. So which are the airport staff now? The investigation must come out and identify who are the airport staff. Even if there are 20 of them, they will definitely belong to a service provider in the airport, either the airline operators themselves or the airport service provider or the ground handlers service provider. So I expect that we should be able to hear that, because these are the people who have direct access to the luggage. Having said that, you go a little bit up into that report that a passenger whom they put the drug into his luggage had only 1 luggage, not 2. He had only 1 luggage. The question again is, how did the passenger get to have 2 luggages? How? The airline must be able to explain that. If the passenger said, I have only 1 luggage, and you are saying 2 luggages for him, how did he get 2 luggages? There are quite stories that I have heard. Somebody went and approached that person. They need to investigate that aspect too. At what point did he check or did she check in the first luggage? At what time was the second luggage checked into the aircraft? We need to find out. And the only person who can get a baggage tag, the only person who will get a baggage tag for that luggage or for any of the luggage must have access into the airline computer system. Computer assistant passenger screening process. That person must have access to it. And the only people I think can have access to it is the airline staff or the ground service provider staff. The ground handling staff. Because I know they have some ground handling. Some of the airlines are not doing it themselves. They handed it over to some ground handling company. So it is only any of those 2 that will have it. For me, if I'm going to investigate, I will hold those 2 people responsible first.
In the face of all the security breaches, what is Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority stands?
Ideally, we too will rely on their action because that is their area. Aircraft can be forfeited. It's not just the personnel only that will be handed over for prosecution.
National Drug Law Enforcement Agency has seized 125 kilograms of illicit drugs from 93 passengers in 2018. In 2019, 26 passengers have so far been caught with 94.12 kilograms of banned substances at the Lagos airport alone. From 2018 to April 2019, 30 people have been convicted from drug-related offenses and 23 Nigerians are on death row in Saudi Arabia for drug-related offenses. The sad concern is that based on the activities of some airport workers and airlines, and some of those may just be innocent.
Our interview segment this week explores airport security and the growing concerns of increased arrest on drug-related offenses in the country. Welcome to this segment. We have joining us today Frank Oyoriho. He's a security consultant. Now we are going to talk about airport security. That's against the background of Zainab Aliu's case. And I'll start. At what point do you think a traveler should guard his luggages jealously, if I should use that word?
First and foremost, it should be a practice to guard your luggage. So there isn't a special point. So long as the luggage is with you, up till when you log in. Now, like I would suggest is, rather than leave the moment your luggage is weighed in, wrap it up. So when you wrap it up, nobody gets access to it. But between when you enter the airport and you're logged in, whatever you're doing, so long as the bag is with you, you need to be vigilant. Up till when it is scaled and the weight is confirmed and is okay, you wrap it up. At that point, it's no more with you because it's going to go through the conveyor. Then you don't know what happens to the bag anymore. So I think it's in those points, that's when they tamper with it. Not even when you're in the departure hall or the arrival hall. It's at the point where the luggage are being put into the plane. That's when they tamper with it. So for you to safeguard your luggage, wrap it up, no matter how much it costs. So once you wrap it up, nobody touches it in your absence, and nobody is able to tamper with it in your absence. So it's an eternal vigilance up till when you hand over the bag to the airport staff. Well,
that means those that will be in charge of wrapping luggage would make more money for themselves and for the country, I hope. And my question now is, we have CCTVs, we have cameras all over the place. Do you think whoever manned those cameras are also culpable or is culpable?
Yeah, sure. It's an insider thing. It's a cartel. It's not one person's idea or action. So, for instance, there are different stages of attendance. So, for somebody's bag to be opened and then anything or the bag is tampered with or something is planted into it, it's not one person's activity. So, it's a group of activities by different groups of people at different points in time where the bag is attended to. So, if they want to manage the process has to be anywhere the bag has a contact. So both the person in charge of the camera, unless of course the camera is not manned by anybody, is just fixed, but they can always rewind and re-roll and see what has happened. Outside that, every other person that is involved in handling the bag is a culprit, is culpable. And again, one thing we must also realize is that there's no point in time where one person is left alone in a function. So it means that for a bag to be tampered with, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 persons in that particular section. So it's a cartel that involves both the external and the internal people who work in the airport.
Now we have some countries that you know, that has capital punishment for drug peddling and for drug traffickers. Now, I'm saying, do you think such should be revisited? Instead of capital punishment, you can have life imprisonment, given the case of Zainab?
Now, you know, country differs from countries. And if capital punishment had kept the society clean of drugs, they could go ahead with it. But for Nigeria as a country, we cannot recommend capital punishment because, first of all, our level of, for lack of word, seriousness in handling issues, we may be punishing the wrong person or kill the wrong person. Imagine the man who recently was released from jail after 27 years. Now, is it that there was no proper litigation process that took place? But something happened in the process. So, if for a country like ours, where we are complacent, where we don't tidy up issues, and then you decide to use capital punishment, we're going to be in big trouble because the innocent will suffer. But be that as it may, we're not encouraging that. Encourage people to carry drugs or use hard drugs. But then, how do we get to the point where we will actually be able to help the innocent, just in this case? So it's on that basis that I will say, okay, capital punishment is not advisable. But then again, if you say capital punishment is not advisable, how long will the process of investigation take? So if you want to apply capital punishment, it means that there should be a thorough and long enough time. Unlike what you have in Saudi Arabia, within 1 month, maximum of 1 month, the case has been decided, and it's if you are guilty, so the onus to prove yourself innocent becomes a responsibility. Unlike the Nigerian law, where you are not guilty until you are proven to be guilty. So, but in their own community or in their own society, it's different. You're already guilty before you are judged by the law court that you are guilty or not guilty. So, or you're already pronounced guilty. So that makes it difficult. And that's why I wouldn't say capital punishment should be supported. But if in other countries it works for them, then who am I to say they shouldn't? But in my own country, it should not. Because we don't have that process to be able to find out the truth as quickly as possible, to the point that the innocent will not suffer.
Now, the suspects, those that NDLEA has picked up, they've been granted bail, and I'm wondering, or rather, I think personally it's too early. You know, it's too early. So, what do you have to say about that?
I wouldn't prescribe holding them longer, because we've already found out how they got there, presumably. But what I would just say is, even though we have been able to find out some reasons or some of the things that probably would have been a cause, we shouldn't leave it at that level. We should investigate. That's when other countries will take us seriously. If in the course of releasing them, you get back to Nigeria, they go back to their normal business, everything comes normal, they will see us as unserious people. But what we should fight for is that they shouldn't be killed, because there's a possibility that they didn't do it, from what we have found out. There's also the possibility that they did, and this is just an opportunity to be able to they are latching on the opportunity or the circumstances to get away with it. For Zainab's case, it has been proven, but for the other guys, was it proven? It was an assumption. So, and because it's an assumption, that's why I would suggest that it is to take them through the legal process to be able to find out whether the Zainab issue is the same thing with their own issue. But if it is not, then we'll take appropriate step to prosecute them and jail them. Then other countries will see us as people who do not support such crime. So next time something happens and you go to them and say, well, we know you can handle it in your country, you can go away with this person. But if anybody comes and says, oh, they planted it, that means it becomes a cliche for anybody that gets caught. Say, I'm not aware they planted it. So a thorough investigation should be carried out on these people, and if they find out that they are guilty, they should be appropriately punished, but not capital punishment, so that other countries will see us as a serious set of people. If not, the day something happens like this again, which is obvious that it's not their fault, they won't take us seriously. So once we let them go, they will just go.
Now, finally, what do you think should be the solution?
Well, first and foremost, how does the airport authority recruit? So that's number one. They need to involve thorough background check in how they recruit. That's one. Then number two, apart from the normal cameras that they should have body cameras on their staff, especially staff in sensitive positions. These body cameras will be connected to a monitoring room, so that if you switch it off, it will show. If you decide or try to block the view, it will show. So with that, everybody will be conscious of how to do their job. So that will not only prevent drug peddling or putting drug in, it will also have like a performance appraisal, because people, you will see, the management will see when they review the camera how you attended to customers, how you attended to users of the airport. So that is very, very important. Body cameras apart from the normal cameras, background check in their recruitment, and then that's what they call what do you call it now? Consequences. You know, the problem we have in Nigeria today, there are no consequences for offenses. There's always one man knows one man, and one man knows one brother, and that's why people could take one way. People could make a call that they are driving and all that, because there are no consequences. The same thing we have here is the same thing we have abroad. But when you get abroad, you behave yourself, because nobody knows the president's son, nobody knows the president, or there are consequences for every act. So for anyone that bridges the gap or bridges the rule, should face the consequences of breaching the rule. Once there are stern consequences, people will take cue. But it's because the MD's brother is the person who's in charge of this, or he does anything, yes, I will report you to your uncle, put a call through the person. So we should go back and adhere strictly to the rules. And anybody that breaches the rule is punished. So 3 things that I suggest: background check for recruitment, body cameras for the staff, and consequences should be apportioned for any breach in the course of doing their duty.
Our second big story takes us to the northern part of Nigeria, where the lingering farmers and herders clashes is raging.
These are remains of the 310 cows slaughtered in Basa local government on the 28th of April 2019. The 2 herdsmen tending the cows are still missing after the attack. The situation is generating mixed reactions from residents within Plateau. Mischief makers in the state have gone to town disseminating news that Fulani militia are planning to launch an attack on Basa community over the killing of the cows. The Special Task Force commander, who has been working tirelessly to maintain peace following the recent attack, gave us an update on his peace efforts.
I want to reassure us that we have put in a lot of measures to win confidence amongst the people, among the victims. We had a series of engagements with the owners of those cattle. Most importantly, very, very significant, was that one of the meetings we had was in the Central Mosque, whereby grievances were laid, and then we made sure that everybody left there confident.
We spoke to the Director General of Plateau Peace Building Agency, who also told us how the agency has been engaging both the leadership of the Fulani community and that of the native Irigwe community on possible ways of preventing a reprisal attack.
We are not going to despair, and I'm sure if you've been following the news, you would see that immediately it happened, the Peace Building Agency called on the leaders of the Fulani leaders and had a meeting with them that spanned over 3 hours here in our mini conference hall, and we were able to extract a commitment that there wouldn't be any form of reprisal attack Following that, we made a press conference also calling on citizens not to allow, the few amongst us who are good at manipulating the emotions of a vast majority of our citizens to allow, that we shouldn't, fall prey to their kind of antics.
Plateau residents and social media users are warned to desist from giving out false information that could lead to a breakdown of the unease currently prevailing in the state following the incident. The commander of Operation Safe Haven says his troops are on the alert and will do their best to nip in the bud any threat of violence. Funom Joshua, TVC News, Jos, Plateau State.
Before we go, here are some security tips for you. And on that note, we've come to the end of this episode. Remember to send your comments coming to crimewatch@tvcnews.tv. You can also tweet at me at Ivy Kano. Do have a crime-free week.